Welcome to Healthy Little Moments. I'm Dorota and I'm your host. And today we are going to talk about some simple, natural, but effective solutions for anxiety. So, I love talking about things that just naturally come up in life. And recently I've had 3 friends approach me who have really just been struggling with anxiety situations in their life. They're just struggling to work through. Feel like I've been talking about this a lot in the last couple of weeks. But before I jump into any solutions or tools that we're going to talk about today, I want to put out the disclaimer that none of this is medical advice. If you are dealing with any ongoing anxiety, depression, or any ongoing mental health issues, I highly recommend that you talk to your doctor or find a licensed professional. There are so many really great, easy tools out there to find a professional. I'll link to some of them here in the podcast and also on my blog, so you can use those tools. One of my favorite ones we'll talk about later, but it's Psychology Today. All licensed therapists are on there, and you can filter out by your preferences, like maybe gender or specialties, and of course insurance. To talk about today are different tools that you can use, and depending on what you're going through in your life right now, you can maybe try one of the tools, or maybe you just need to throw an arsenal of all of these tools at your problems, and that's okay too. Wherever you're at, I hope you find something here that's going to be helpful and useful. So the first thing I want to talk about is a supplement. It's called L-Theanine, and there's another one that it's sometimes partnered with is GABA, but I used L-Theanine maybe 13 years ago. My doctor recommended it to me, and it's actually all natural, and I find it's one of the most powerful tools out there to help just calm you down. And I feel like it just takes the edge off. It doesn't feel like medication. It just kind of calms you down. It's a natural amino acid that's found in green tea, and it works even better when it's paired with caffeine, which I find interesting because for some people caffeine makes them a little edgy, but it promotes relaxation without making you feel drowsy. It actually increases the happy brain chemicals that are responsible for calming you down, such as GABA, serotonin, and dopamine. These chemicals actually help regulate sleep and stress, and the most important, it is not habit forming, and it's not a medication. You don't need to be on it long term. You could just take it as needed. I want to share a quick story. I have a friend who I have been helping find a job, and after about 6 months of not really getting anywhere, he told me that his anxiety at these Zoom job interviews just went through the roof. So much so that he was actually drinking a beer before each interview because he felt like it was taking the edge off. And I do want to tell you that drinking alcohol is never a good idea, especially before an interview, because you think people don't know, but they know. And so I recommended this supplement to him. He took it, and I wish I had a screenshot of the text message he sent me. He's like, I can't believe that a supplement made me feel this way. He's like, I feel calm but in control, and I don't feel drowsy. And I was like, yeah, that's what it does. So I wanted to start with this because I'm pretty passionate about it, especially for the people who are not quite ready to start an anti-anxiety medication and want to try something natural. But again, always talk to your doctor before trying anything new, especially a supplement, to see if it interacts with any other medications that you're on. So next, I quickly talked about alcohol, but let's talk about it because a lot of people reach for alcohol when they're feeling anxious, and maybe that first sip or that first drink takes the edge off, but alcohol actually increases your anxiety and stress levels long term. Studies show that alcohol changes your brain chemistry, and now studies are coming out that there's no amount of alcohol that is actually safe to drink or good for you to drink. It actually triggers depression. I would highly recommend that you assess your consumption, and if you're having any feelings of anxiety, completely pause your alcohol consumption, maybe switch to a mocktail for a couple weeks or months. I have some great recipes on my YouTube channel that you can try. And if you feel like you can't really decrease the amount of alcohol that you're using, I would really talk to a therapist about that as well. So the next topic is probably one of my favorites because it's one that I see almost immediate results with, and that is just moving your body even a little bit. I know that when you're anxiety riddled. You might not feel motivated to go to the gym and see people or go for a walk. But I guarantee you that even just a 10-minute walk, any type of movement, even stretching in your living room, really helps shifts your brain chemistry and it reduces stress. It helps you sleep better, and you don't have to overthink it. You don't have to make a workout plan for the next week or month. Just move your body. Go for a walk with a friend, or if you do have a gym membership, I highly recommend taking a fitness class when you're feeling down. I think that is such a great way to be around people who have similar goals and are engaging in healthy activities. And I remember one time when I was struggling to move, my friend who is a therapist said, what can you do that brings you joy? What's an activity that is childlike, not childlit, but childlike, that you feel that's fun? And for me, it's really easy. I love rollerblading. It brings so much joy to my life. I've been rollerblading since I was 10 years old, maybe younger. I think my first pair of skates I got when I was 6 or 7. So many, many decades. I'm dating myself. I'll blast some 80s music and I just absolutely love it. Recently, I got into rebounding, which is basically just jumping on a trampoline. And NASA came out with a study that 10 minutes on a trampoline is just as good as running for 30 minutes. So find out what type of movement your body enjoys, or just go for a simple walk. And afterwards, I promise you'll feel the difference. The fourth tool or solution that I want to talk about is building your community. It's surrounding yourself with trustworthy, kind, safe people. Loneliness is a major epidemic in America right now. I know people who are young who don't have a good core group of trustworthy, kind, loving friends. So if you don't have that to lean on right now, I highly encourage you to seek that out in whatever form you're comfortable. You can reach out to old friends, or make new friends in your community, or through your hobbies, or even make friends online. I'm writing a whole post right now about ways that I've made friends in my life, and I recognize that I'm an outgoing person. I love people. I love making new friends. I actually have 5 really incredible friends in my life that I met through social media and who I've known for years and years now. So there's so many different ways to make friends. So find the right type of people who listen, understand, and make you feel grounded. This last point on this topic, which is to take an honest inventory of who's around you. If someone drains your energy, if they're negative or they trigger your anxiety, protect your peace and remove yourself from them, from that relationship, and from that drama. You have control over your life. You don't have to see or talk to somebody who is not supportive and does not help your mental health. Fifth tool or that I want to talk about is getting to the root cause of your anxiety itself. So anxiety is really a symptom of something deeper. And I mean, we could talk about this for hours, honestly, but I'd say 80% of us know what causes our anxiety. For the 20% who don't, I suggest that you really sit with your feelings and figure out what it could be. Maybe you need to talk to a friend about it, or a therapist, or maybe just journal about it. Ask yourself questions like, when does your anxiety come up? And then get honest about changes that you're willing to make to help that situation. So if it's a friendship, do you need to distance yourself for that friend? Is it your job? Do you need to look for a new job? Maybe that's really extreme. Maybe you just need to request a few more work from home days. Maybe your mental health is better when you're working from home, or the opposite. Maybe you need to go into the office. I know people who have requested to go to the office because that's what they need for their mental health. So really get honest about what's triggering it, and that's actually the long-term solution for managing anxiety. The next one I want to talk about, I've brought up a few times, and I should have started with this. This is my absolutely favorite topic, which is therapy. I am the biggest proponent of therapy. There's still so many judgments about going through a therapist. And I have to tell you, probably 9 out of 10 people I know need therapy for one reason or another. And you don't have to go to therapy for the rest of your life. You can go to manage one situation. You can go for a year or a few years, however long you need it. But a lot of times anxiety builds up when we're not working through an issue. It's really not about fixing a problem. It's really about processing life and finding solutions in your life that work for you. And I'll say that in therapy, we really get out of it what we put in. So if you go to therapy kicking and screaming, say, oh, my partner said I need it, or my mom said it'd be a good idea, or my friend suggested it. I really encourage you to go into therapy being open to change, and that includes patterns or behavior. The famous quote, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And that is so true in life. If you don't change, nothing is going to change. And I say that with grace and no judgment. I would just encourage you to go and just be open. You never know what your therapist is going to share with you, the background that they have. And I highly recommend seeing a relationship with a therapist just like any other significant relationship in your life. Connection needs to be present and needs to be helpful. I've been very, very fortunate to have amazing therapists in my life. And I say multiple, and somebody actually attacked me about that on YouTube. And he's like, how many have you had? And just disclaimer, I've moved states, I've moved cities many times, so I've had to find new therapists at various points in my life when I needed one. There was one time where I met with a woman and she was really new and she just really couldn't offer a lot to me, and I just had to, and after maybe 3 or 4 sessions, it wasn't giving me anything, and that's okay too. So just find one that you connect with. Even just a few sessions can bring so much clarity to your life or to a different situation. All right, next tool is a little bit easier and lighter to talk about, okay? And I want to talk about meditation. Some people are so afraid when they hear meditation because they feel like it's this overwhelming, you're going to have to sit in a room with your fingers like this, sitting cross-legged, meditating for an hour, but you absolutely do not need to. It can be a 5 or 6 minute meditation that brings so much clarity and peace to your life. I have a friend who's a therapist and she created a channel for her patients, and then it blew up. The channel is called Love Your Calm. Her meditations are anywhere between 6 or 8 minutes long. That's it. And her voice is so soothing and beautiful and grounding. And her meditations are guided, so it's really easy to follow. So if you're new to meditation, I just highly recommend that you maybe start one that's guided, and you don't have to shut off your thoughts. I think that's another misconception with meditation. A lot of people have these intrusive thoughts. Just welcome them and say, hey, thank you. Okay, got it. Noted. Next, I have to do laundry. I have to do shopping. I have to do this after. Okay, let's just accept that thought and then move on. I highly recommend that you check her out. I'm also going to link some resources to her meditations below. Again, she created this to help her patients, and she is such a loving soul, which I think comes across through in her meditations. But at the end of the day, just remember, it's just sitting with your breath. Let your thoughts pass, slow down, even if it's for a moment, maybe before bed or before you're running outside of the house. And very similar to meditation is our next tool, which is box breathing. And this was created by the Navy, and it's just what it sounds like, box breathing. So if you can imagine, you're going up the side of the box and you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds, you exhale for 4 seconds, and you hold for 4 seconds, and you just keep repeating that. I do this exercise when I'm swimming. So I follow this rhythm as I take the breaths as I swim. And so now my morning swim has turned into a morning meditation, and it is so peaceful, and it really clears my mind and helps me calm down. So I also linked that to a box breathing exercise for you guys, and you can reference that. The next tool is magnesium, which is a calming mineral, and there is a brand, I'm not sponsored by them or promoting anything, but there is a brand called Calm. We have a lot of Calm. We have Love Your Calm meditation. We have a Calm magnesium. So we're really trying to help you out here. But magnesium plays a huge role in your brain function and your mood, and low levels have been linked to high anxiety. So maybe you could try taking magnesium. It has helped with sleeping. It can calm your nerves, and it reduces that physical tension that we sometimes hold on to when we have a lot of anxiety. And a lot of us are unknowingly in deficit of magnesium, especially during stressful seasons, postpartum, pregnancy. So again, talk to your doctor. There are a lot of safe and straightforward supplements out there that you can try. They have a gummy bear version that tastes just like candy to me, which I love. I've given them to my husband, and he's like, can I have more? I'm like, it's not candy, but okay. And the last tool that I want to talk about really encompasses all of this in essence. That's self-care. And I know that term is overused. It's thrown around, but it's not a luxury. I feel like it's survival. So how you can introduce some self-care into your life. And again, when you're riddled with anxiety, it might not be top of mind. So I know this can be a challenge, but think about what you can do that brings peace to your life. And it can be so simple. It can be a cup of tea after the baby goes to bed. I'm going to throw out some of mine in case it triggers any ideas, but I had a point when I was postpartum. I have a 16-month-old son. And I realized that I was on go, 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 go. I run, we have investment properties. We have a house that I manage. Of course, I'm a stay-at-home mom, which is a full-time job. Plus, I run 2 businesses. I'm just always on the go. And I realized that I had to schedule self-care. And not in this umbrella fluffy term, but what I mean is just timeouts. That's really what I call them, life timeouts. So a great example, yesterday I went up on a pedicure date with my friend. Her and I, she's a fellow mom. We went and we just sat and we talked our heads off, and it was quick. We met at the salon. We had an hour pedicure. We talked and then we left. And I came back so refreshed and happy. And I had that connection, that community, and it felt so good to me. And so it doesn't have to be very complicated. I also started, when my son goes to bed, I make myself a hot cup of red raspberry leaf tea, which has a ton of benefits. I will have to write about it in my blog soon because it's something I'm really passionate about. I just make a cup of tea and I just sit down for a few minutes before I feel that hectic rush of jumping into my laptop and responding to emails or writing my next blog. I just sit and I process the day, and I sometimes look at my planner and plan for the next day, which is also a form of self-care. It's giving me that routine and that space in my day to set myself up for success for the next day. Whatever your little ritual might look like, create that little ritual for yourself. And that's really why I built this brand, because a beautiful, calm, happy life is made up of all of these little decisions and these little small moments that give our day and our life this rhythm and this calm and love. So I hope that you work on creating a life that feels good for you. To wrap up, just a few other remedies that are worth mentioning that I'm going to rattle off here, which is chamomile tea, lavender essential oil, sunshine. Vitamin D does wonders for our mood. Gratitude journaling. I know there are the 5-minute gratitude journals. I received one as a gift, and I haven't written it in a few months, but I did it for an entire year straight, and it was really, really amazing. And then the last one, a digital detox. I know it's funny because here I am building content, connecting to you through a digital platform, but still curate your digital footprint in a way that supports your mental health. Our life is really short. It's too short to feel anxious every single day. I just encourage you to stop and ask, is this how I want to live my life? You don't need to change everything overnight. Just pick one thing from the list and try it and see how you feel. And then maybe you add another and then another. And that's really how change happens, right? Those small, steady, and consistent little nudges in the right direction. And if you need help, please ask for it. You're not meant to do this alone. I wish you guys a safe, happy, calm afternoon or morning at whatever time you're listening to this. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you found this helpful, please share this with a friend. And I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. Have a great night.